Hey there, friends. Happy January the 8th to you. It's Friday, January the 8th. We'll be chit-chatting about the number 8 today because it's a very significant, spiritual, kind of lucky-ish number. So we're going to be chatting about that today. I love these new journal covers, you guys. I am very, very thankful to Miss J for sending us some fabric. You ladies who sew, my goodness. Now this baby is really big. She is a little over 6 inches thick. I love this batik, this very organic colors here. We've got a bit of teal, we've got a little bit of yellow. You know, the brown just kind of brings it all together. And I did finish these because of the binding is a different thing from the embroidery floss binding with a key. And I just thought that that turned out really, really well. Again, thanks to Miss J. A big thanks to Miss C as well because she sent me a box of fabric. This is awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing the love and allowing me to pass on the love to other folks. I have only 2 pieces of this fabric. And this is one book. I'm probably going to make another one, and then I'm going to have to reserve one for myself because I just resonate in every kind of way with all of these colors. The pop of gold is wonderful, reminds me of Moorish, Spanish kind of influences, and this one is also finished with a key. So let's take a look at this one first. You know, guys, last week I had a preview, what do they call that when they give you like a free, I think it was Amazon Prime Video, a free peek at the Stars channel and caught a few episodes of the Spanish Princess. And it was like, oh my goodness, you know, and then they want you to subscribe to Stars, but of course I don't do that. But what a really extraordinary few episodes it was. And I really did love, you know, the Moorish influence that we were seeing in the way that that Catherine of Aragon dressed and her ladies. And I just thought it was really super cool. Of course, we start these books off with a 3x3 mini book that you can collage in. You can do all kinds of things. And, you know, talking about collage, you know, let's think of ways to use a journal like this. Now, this is more than just like a flow journal. This is more like an art supply book. This is an art supply shop in a book. You've got images, you've got bookmarks, you've got clusters that you can put things together and work with. Now, obviously, this is a beachy cluster here. These books also feature the painting projects that I've been doing lately, the DIY texture paste projects that I've been doing. I'm really having a lot of fun with painting. It's not something that I've gravitated to in the past, but as we just continue with hunkering down, you know, you may be at this point where you're just diving into your stash, right? And you're really using the things that maybe you have not used for years. Maybe you're even discovering new ways to use old things. Now, that's what's happening with a lot of my text pages that I have in books. I'm discovering new techniques to kind of make those text pages into new-ish kind of creations. I'm also really digging into the things that I use in the kitchen that I feel like can be used for art as well. This is a tea bag. As you guys know, Chris loves sweet tea. I make tea all the time. And this is an emptied, cleaned tea bag. And it has this super keen texture to it. This is from Miss C. I love this fabric. You know, it's majestic, Queen Elizabeth, royalty kind of related. And I think that the red hearts in it, they're just so pretty. A dryer sheet. Dryer sheets are great for building texture. And you guys know my dryer sheet story. I'd never used them before because I just felt like it was unnecessary. until I realized that, well, Chris pointed out, he was like, things stink. We need some dryer sheets. It's like, okay. Handmade little butterflies. These do have some texture paste on them. Lots of fun to play with. Painty papers to play with. The dryer sheets have become like pretty necessary. I do buy them at the pound shop because they're made in the USA. You know, we've been talking about art-related things that are made in the USA, you know, art supplies and things that aren't made in China, and things that maybe we can utilize around our house, or maybe just pay a little more attention to the things that we're buying and where they come from. As the pandemic kind of goes on, you know, we really do want to support our USA artists and our USA manufacturers. 4 signatures, I don't think I said anything about that, and 8 pockets. This is an original collage piece that I did. I really thought that that was a lot of fun to do. You've got bookmarks that you can alter. You've got tags you can alter. You've got art trading cards that you can alter. This is a Tim Holtz piece. It's these wonderful grunge board letters, and I just keep a stack on my desk as I'm painting, and paint some of those as well. They're a lot of fun to work with. You know, walked outside this morning and the daffodils are up, and my Queen of the Nile is up. You know, only poking about 3 inches out of the soil right now. I was really surprised to see these things, y'all, because typically we just don't see that kind of growth so early in the year. I did take a little stroll in the backyard as well as the front yard. My peony is not doing anything right now. I wanted to check on everything. Our weather has been fairly mild, you know, 50 degrees, and you know, that's pretty darn mild. I recycled some calendars. Boy, calendars, let's talk about that for a minute. Man, talk about images. You've got all kinds of things to play with when you have old calendars, don't you? If you guys watched my altered Christmas card tutorial, not a tutorial, video, then you know the techniques that went into making this very crunchy, tactile, hard background. I love this little Debbie advertisement because it was the original packaging, 1960, and this is the current packaging. I thought that was really fun to look at, and that's what you have here. You know, images, bookmarks, tags, art trading coins, art trading cards, painty papers, elements of collage. These cards you can just take out and collage right on top of them. It's kind of a one-stop shop, y'all. You can take this book and you can, you know, get a glue stick and maybe a pair of scissors. You don't really even need scissors. I've been doing a lot of coffee dyeing, so I have some coffee dyed. When I coffee dye something, I also use the napkins that I use to draw the coffee dye pieces on. So we have those. Again, just trying to be very mindful about creativity, creating constantly, and all those small projects, those small efforts, you know, really do make a big difference, friends, if you are trying to build a stash on a budget. And now that's how I've always done things, on a budget. Now I'm super grateful to have friends who de-stash their studios and send me boxes of things to play with and things to create with that I in turn pass along to you guys. It's an absolute miracle to me to be able to get things like that in the mail and to be able to pass them along. Also, you know, sometimes when we jump into art world, we think, well, I'm going to have to buy this, I'm going to have to buy that, I'm going to have to purchase, and that's really not it. Jenny Belly did a video years ago called, and I'll try and find it and put it in the description box below. It was creativity does not come from a craft store. And I was like, yes, that's it, man. You, I mean, and I think we all love to go to craft stores, but it's just like, you know, let's dive in, let's see what we can do. And then, you know, in the next breath, I'm going to go support your U.S. manufacturers. You know, I feel a rather dichotomous way about it, and I'm sure a lot of people do too. A warm-up journal. This is a great little warm-up journal. This is a great journal for if you just have minimum space, minimal supplies. It's a jumpstart journal. It has prompts. It has focal images. It has words. It has symbols, sentences, quotes, letters, numbers, dates, calendars. It's a super cool coffee table book. You know, if you are hunkered down with a loved one or hunkered down, you know, you've got your bubble now, y'all. You're just associating with a small group of people, and that's safe. That's kind of what we should be doing right now, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. You know, this would be a super neat coffee table book. A lot of people have hunkered down with jigsaw puzzles, and I just think that that's so fun. My sister and her husband are doing jigsaw puzzles. You might want to get a book like this. Encourages folks to engage with the book, you know, pass out a couple glue sticks and some scissors, and, you know, maybe allow everybody to choose 5 objects from the book and work with those 5 objects. And talking about objects from the book, you guys know that I am, you know, way fond of the lost, the abandoned, the orphaned, the sketchy, the rejects, the trash, the oddities, which I dearly love oddities, misfit, singles, weird, unusual, miscuts, misstamps, scraps, homeless, derelict. It just goes on and on and on. These kind of books are just really fun to work with. Let's do a measurement on this baby. Yep, she's 6 inches in girth. Let's take a look at this beautiful brown yellow batik fabric with the key on the spine. I did a bamboo closure for these guys because I did have a few bamboo brads, that's hard to say, in my stash, so I decided to use those babies up. My friend Lorraine sent me a ton of vintage construction paper, which I'm just really making a lot of use of. Again, just, you know, paint, stencil, text page, and create something new from that format, you know, from that formula. And I mean, let's face it, creativity is a lot of experimenting. And when you can fall into the joy of experimenting with your art, when you can fall into that wonderful, magical sense of losing yourself, especially these days, guys, with so much trouble and strife in the world, anything that helps you fall into a more peaceful state certainly can add pleasure to your life. And that's what these kinds of, well, that's what art's all about, right? It's just about falling into a wonderful space and maybe detaching from the world a little bit, you know, forgetting a bit of your troubles, because, you know, in this world you will have trouble. That's a biblical quote, and I'm sure it's everywhere. You know, the Buddhist, the first Buddhist tenet is their suffering. There it is. You know, and then we just try to, to get through our discontent or our suffering, or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes I think suffering is a big word, and then I realize it's like that is kind of there's a way around suffering, and that is the eightfold path. And then that brings us right back around to the number 8, which we were going to talk about. 8. Numerology is really interesting to me. Numbers are very interesting to me. You can find numerical references in the Bible, numerical references in all religious texts. As a matter of fact, I reminded someone not long ago about the, we were talking about stones and the meaning behind gemstones, and I mentioned that the priests in Genesis, the early books of the Bible, wore these ephods, and an ephod was an actual vest that was inlaid with precious gems and minerals, and it, when the priests would ask God a question, the gems would glow in answer. And someone was saying, well, that's, had discussed with someone that maybe gems did not have such a positive context. And I'm like, did they know that that's not true? Let me explain. So, numerology, I think is fun. My son has numbers that follow him around. I've always had little numbers that followed me around. For just a quick little fun little project, take your phone number, add up the numbers in your phone number, and, what number do you get? And remember, if all the numbers added up, y'all, is a 23, then what you do is add 3 and 2 together, and the actual number of your phone number is 5. So you always add your numbers, and then you deduct, you add the last 2, and then that's your root number, I think is what it's called. Anyway, it's just fun. The number 8 is all about balance. When you think about the number 8 and how it looks, how it's so symmetrical and pretty, and, it is the symbol of eternity. And because it is a, a figure 8, of course, duh. But it represents balance and represents new beginnings and creation. Remember that God rested on the 7th day in the Bible and during creation. So, you wake up on that 8th day and it's like, oh, okay, I've got a new beginning here. Every day is a new beginning. Every breath is a new beginning. Every opportunity is a new beginning. When you start to kind of face your fears and face the anxiety in the world, and you go to bed at night, and you get a night's sleep, and then you have that opportunity the very next day to make things better, or to dive right back into the negativity of the day before. So we should always try and start anew. Start with a clean slate. How awesome is a clean slate? In Chinese numerology, 8 is the luckiest number. Numerology is just, it's fun. I think that we can get way serious about things, and, like the moon phases or whatever, going on celestially, and, people have different connotations of what those kinds of things mean. But I think it's really fun when you can joyfully experience something like numerology and just have fun with it. Just realize it is what it is. There are numbers everywhere. So, maybe you even have a number that kind of follows you around. It's fun to just, practice a little mindfulness and to see where that little numerology path takes you. Oh, Lordy, we've got like 6 1/4 over here. When I mail these things to you guys, I do press them down and I wrap them in fabric, and then that way they go in the envelope, friends, because if I didn't do that, they wouldn't go in the envelope. They have to have like they have to be tucked. They have to be tucked in. I hope y'all all have a lovely Friday, January 8th. See you soon. Bye.